snooker's biggest box office attraction. Everybody wants to see him play.
Yes, Clive, the place is buzzing tonight.
Played that in such a way that the ready attempted was the only one he could possibly leave. O'Sullivan has an 11-8 head-to-head record against Fu, but how many players can say that they've beaten O'Sullivan 8 times? Not many.
No, I was saying earlier on, one of those at the Crucible was a match where Ronnie made a 147, but Marco beat him. The Grand Prix final, which was Marco's first ever ranking tournament win. O'Sullivan was the man he beat in that final. And we're not saying that, I mean, he's playing the same guy all those years ago. O'Sullivan was brilliant. As good then as he is now. There's no difference. So he can do it. He can beat Ronnie. What I would say is that he has to play better than he did this afternoon, because that was not a particularly good performance.
Well, somebody's letting off some fireworks.
I think he's been fairly lucky. He put his hand up there to apologise, but Ronnie's got a long red that he could knock in.
Two quarter-final losers are meeting tonight from the International Championship in Chengdu last week. O'Sullivan lost to Mark Williams, a double world champion, for the first time in 12 years.
5.
And Fu lost to Robert Milkins. The consolation
6
for those defeats, I suppose, was that it just gave them a little bit more time to rest and prepare for this tournament.
Yeah, the two finalists we'll be seeing on Friday here in Coventry.
13.
Ricky Walden, who beat Mark Allen in Chengdu, play each other on Friday in the remaining group.
Neil Robertson
14.
and Ali Carter are the two other players in that group. Carter back from his unpleasant brush with cancer.
19. Okay. 20.
Yes, and before anyone asks, we did mean Friday. I know we know today is Wednesday, but there is no play here tomorrow. It is a rest day. That split has not worked out. He's on a red to the middle. He'll be lucky.
27.
He's very tight on this, and he can get. He's close enough to it to flick a tiny bit of left-hand side on to widen the angle.
28.
But position was compromised. End of break.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 28.
Seems to be a pretty knowledgeable crowd. Coventry has a thriving amateur league, so a lot of knowledgeable snooker folk in here tonight, I would guess.
I wonder if Ronnie's got an easy safety shot here. It's playing to the right-hand side of this red thin. Doesn't want to catch this too thick. But he didn't really play him behind the green. If anything, he hit it a fraction too thin, actually, that one. That's why it was so speedy.
A virtual sellout here at the Ricoh Arena.
One.
Didn't really know where the cuba would finish, but he's been happy to finish where he has with the red across near the right middle as well, so he's not going to do an awful lot with this pink. It's one of those frames, he's got a decent little lead, 35 points. He can take the reds around the pink and not worry too much about freeing the black here. More of a problem for Marco Fu if he gets 40 or 50 behind.
$14. 15.
21. No reason why he wouldn't win the frame here.
22.
Not even letting the cue ball roll around too far. He's in prime position. He was classy this afternoon in his win against Stuart Bingham. When he was pressed, he found plenty. Finished with back-to-back centuries. Had been put under pressure.
Another positive indicator for O'Sullivan this week is that he's in a cheerful, upbeat mood. There have been times over his long career when
35.
he's been sunk in the depths of depression.
36.
but his relationship with the Sheffield psychiatrist, Dr. Steve
43.
Peters, very much the go-to psychiatrist in the sports world,
44.
has, I think, extended his career. Dr. Peters gave him a new way of looking at things.
51.
And for the last
52.
couple of seasons, or the last season and a half, he's had a very positive outlook. He really seems to be enjoying the game.
59. 60.
Well, the century's on mathematically, but it would take a good shot to knock the yellow
67.
down the cushion. The green's fairly close to a
68.
pocket, so it's not difficult. You might play the cannon here, knock it out though. That's what he's tried. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. He'll be unlucky if the brown covers it. Well, he's done nothing wrong with the
75.
shot.
Well, that was such a good break. 75. Fu didn't score in that opening frame. 1-0 to O'Sullivan.
The second frame. Marco Fu to break.
Marco Fu framed down without potting a ball. O'Sullivan in ominously good form. Polished off that opening frame with a run of 75.
Yeah, I suppose he was looking to make another century and make it 3 in a row, because he finished with back-to-backs this afternoon. He was unlucky not to do it as well. That's what he's got to do. He's got to play safety shots as good as that one. Perfect weight. Ronnie looking for an edge of a red to get back to bulk. These shots are not easy.
Some players believe that if they can frustrate O'Sullivan long enough with good safety, eventually it would take the edge off his potting. But O'Sullivan too has a great safety game.
would say that Ronnie gets frustrated, not so much with good safety, but doesn't really like playing slow players very much. I think that's the one thing he has struggled with. But even then, whether they're good tactical players, slow players, it's how long they're at the table and how many they score that will hurt him more than anything else. This is a very difficult opening red. Might be a big pocket with the other red there. Doesn't need it. Pocket was big enough for him already.
One.
This really is a difficult shot under the cushion rail.
Six. Seven. Ten.
Well, the black, I think, will go. Ronnie has played that well if it does.
11.
Yeah, not quite the right angle on it. He wanted to be a bit lower with the cue ball so he could take the red directly above it.
$18.
That's the problem, you see, with the black now being tied up, and that's what's
19.
made him think a little bit this time. I think he might go into the pink here, get the pink into play. High value colours not really open as things stand. He can make it change though. Well, he has the angle to go into it if he wants to. That's what he's played. So the pink is now in open play, and so is the black. I don't think he could have really,
24.
as good as he is, played that as well in the same shot.
$25. $30.
Just slightly awkward where he's finished. It's the red below the one he wants to pot that's giving that man some hope. He can just sit there and pray almost that Ronnie will miss something soon. This is a little tricky one to the middle.
31.
It's been a slightly difficult break to make.
$37.
We
38.
talk about O'Sullivan's potting and break making, but his shot selection, his planning of a break
44.
is so exceptional.
45.
Oh, that's a slight error. Wants to be on the red that's directly above the black. I think around 2 cushions he could get there from here, but the pot is missable. Can do nothing but drop it in. Yes, well, he may be on the reds above that now. Either way, he's getting there.
50. $51.
Well, this probably is the last difficult shot of the break, and possibly of the frame. Difficult because he's got a hand on the cushion rail. But not too much. It looks difficult right now.
57. 58.
Well, to me, Neil, O'Sullivan seems to be in peak form.
Oh, we know he's devastating around the black spot. The amount of 147 breaks he's made, and the way that he's made them.
64.
But this has been a complicated break.
65.
Like a chess grandmaster, he knows the moves. Or sees the moves.
Yeah, it's one thing knowing them and seeing them, but you know he can really execute them as well. He just looks such a great, wonderful player when he's in this kind of form. Just oozes class. Said that earlier on. Maybe the end of break there. It looked like the ball just jumped slightly.
71. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 71 and the frame.
The 3-ball plan fails, but it makes no difference. He'd already made 71. He leads by 2 frames to 0.
Frame 3. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Breaks of 75 and 71 from O'Sullivan. Fu 2-0 down and yet to score. In fact, the most that Fu has had to go at was a long pot in each of the 2 frames. Couldn't leave any red other than the one he attempted.
Yes, we saw Steve Maguire into the 4th frame of his match yesterday before he potted a ball against Judd Trump. It's a tough old school out there at this level.
Good long red from Fu. At least he can get started.
Yeah, I like the pace he played at that, as if he really fancied the pot, getting it through bulk and back out. And this is where he's really going to have to prove his worth, because if he gets a few chances like this and doesn't take them, then Ronnie's going to be all over him, I think.
Four. $11.
Can't afford to miss those.
11.
I thought that was a bit jabby and a little bit quick. I suppose when you miss them, it always looks like that. It was not a very smooth stroke, that one. I think he's left the red. Well, when you're in luck, there'll be no gap through to the red there.
1. $8. $9.
Plenty of time to think about that. Ready missed.
14.
Well, he'd have to disturb the reds at some point, but not just yet.
15.
Could be a little cannon here on the red, at the bottom of the bunch. Gentle one. It's not one of his best shots, actually. I think he's still okay.
22.
Oh, look at that for a shot.
23.
To left-hand side, Clive, just slightly above the blue spot.
Yes, forced it through beautifully. But he needed the left-hand side to widen the angle off the cushion to get above the blue.
28. $29.
Overrun for his intended red.
Yeah, and also I think he just flicked a bit of
36.
left-hand side on it. Took it a bit to the right, more so. I don't think he. I think you're right. I think he overran rather than underrun for the red that he's actually on. This is quite difficult now. Well, I keep saying that the odd shot he's faced with is difficult, but he's making them all look very easy. The extra pace that he had to put on that one. That's the first wild shot of the night.
Sullivan, 37.
It was also a pretty narrow angle, and maybe was trying to pinch a little bit off the side of the pocket.
troublesome as well. Marco in a snooker. Well, apart from the last shot that Ronnie played when he missed that blue, which was not as pretty as what we usually see, he's outplaying Marco in every department.
Touching ball.
Ronnie's got a touching ball, so he can play away and perhaps get Marco in. Well, he's eyeing up behind the green, perhaps. But where he was the previous shot in behind the yellow's not so bad either. I think poor old Marco's in danger of wearing the carpet out down that end of the table. Ronnie keeps putting him there, getting nothing to go at all.
%93 of O'Sullivan's safeties have been good enough to prevent Fu potting a ball. Excellent long red from Fu.
One.
Snookered himself on his intended red.
Yeah, he didn't really need to put any stun on
Three.
that, and that threw the cue ball wide. But I think under the pressure he seems to be having to endure. He'd prefer to stun those in than roll them, that yellow. And the problem he's got now, he can't even play the safety shot back to Bolt because the red's there.
We just talked about Fu's 90% safety success rate, but from a couple of safeties which weren't successful, O'Sullivan has made 75 and 71.
Marco Fu 3.
That was a fluke.
One.
And that was a missed opportunity.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 1.
Well, as is often the case on those shots, if you don't get the pot, then you don't get the position. because you've hit it slightly wrongly. Difficult opener, this. Oh dear, there's nowhere near it.
Has got away with it though. Fu in trouble again.
Foul. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4.
Well, I suppose you could say unlucky to go in off, but I think O'Sullivan would have been on the red anyway. Perhaps at shorter range.
Yeah, I agree. This is not an easy one to start again. Even though he's got the cue ball in hand, you're almost a bit spoiled for choice when you can put the cue ball anyway. You're playing either corner pocket here. It's quite strange he's put it there with his bridge hand and his arm near the green ball. Still, not much stops him, does it? I suppose it was cleverly played in that the only red he could stick was the one he was playing.
Eight. Nine. Sixteen. 17.
So it's going to be 3-0.
$24. 25.
Yeah, he's missed a couple of shots, Ronnie. His safety's been absolutely immaculate. He's put Marco in trouble all the time, and we say it a lot, but it's often unnoticed how good he is at all of that.
30.
He's put Marco in trouble to get this chance. He's missed just the
31.
odd shot here or there, but all the other parts of his game. And the reason he's outclassing Marco Fu right now.
Chose the brown in order to make the pocket available for the
35.
yellow.
37.
One-way traffic.
Well, this falls in line with what we
40.
saw this afternoon when they both played. The difference between the two victories in standard was enormous.
44. 49. 55.
So with that 62 clearance, Ronnie O'Sullivan goes 3-0 up.
O'Sullivan has progressed to the group final where he is up against Marco Fu. The Rocket wasted no time as he raced into a 3-0 lead in this best of 11 frames. The pair have met 19 times dating back to 1998. O'Sullivan leads 11-8. You have to go back to 2012 when they last met, when O'Sullivan ran out the winner 4-1. Fu's last win over O'Sullivan was at the Welsh Open in 2009. We're going to rejoin the action with O'Sullivan in a commanding lead 3-0. It's Fu to break in the fourth. Your commentators, Clive Everton and Neil Folds.
3-0 to O'Sullivan then. He's outpointed Fu 278 to 14.
Now, if he's playing the safety shot, he's got to make sure he gets the weight right. That's a good one. Nicely judged.
Foul. Marco Fu.
Had the cue ball stayed on the table, Fu wouldn't have had the easy starter that he's got from the D.
One.
He's got to get himself to 3-1 down at the mid-session interval, hasn't he?
6.
4-0. Don't see any way back. Don't forget it is the first of 6 frames, but he's not playing as well as O'Sullivan yet. Things
7.
can change. Probably got to start to change about now.
$14. $15.
The potting angle was too thin to hold for the black.
Good recovery.
19. $20. $25. 26. $33. $34.
The noise you could hear then is coming from another exhibition hall here at the Rico.
$39. $40.
Foo's going along quite nicely. The O'Sullivan in-off did give him a good chance, and so far he's exploited it.
Oh, stopped in his tracks.
45.
That little slow walk makes me think he's not on this. You can always tell, yeah, he's not on that. When you see somebody walking around the table that slowly, it's never a good sign. We've done a lot of hard work to get this many in front, but it's not enough.
Marco Fu, 45.
Good shot to finish. What a shot that is, goodness me. And this black's not easy, but if it goes in, he could be right back in the frame. Just overhit slightly there. Can he get to centre striking on the cue ball? That's all what this shot's all about. Yes, he can.
No.
All that work Marco did just drifted the cue ball too far, and he knows now that he mightn't be many in front if he comes back to the table at all very soon.
Fu will be pinning his hopes on the red
16.
nearest the side cushion.
17.
The one which would have further to go to the pocket than the other one over there.
$23. 24.
Yeah, I can imagine a situation, Clive, where he plays to knock that one out and play on the one below it.
$31. 32.
So I think it will
39.
ultimately come down to the red you mentioned. Now this one's going to be potted. At least it'll go now. Now this one's gone. Down the cushion rail if it comes to it.
40.
But Ronnie likes to play cannons. He's one of the best I've seen at that. all about this shot and where he
47.
finishes on his next colour, I think.
.48.
Two straight. He'll really force this, but he can't get there. The plan was not to pot this down into the top left pocket, not
55.
originally.
Well, that was simply superb.
Another shot got to be played here, though. He's not straight enough to hold, I don't think, very easily. And he's near the cushion, so he can't do a lot with this. Slightly queuing down on the ball. He'd love to drop this in and be on the yellow, but that's it's maybe too much angle there. Oh dear, that was the only thing that could go wrong. He was limited in what he could do with that.
61.
Yes, couldn't apply any side spin or any backspin from tight on the rail.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 61.
So having made 61 to go 12 in front, he has to vacate the table.
Decent shot. Big target, though, to get in behind with the green and brown close together. Ronnie might be thinking about that. Oh, he tried it. Some of the yellow is sticking out, though.
Two.
Well, that was a good shot. Is it going to lead to Fu taking the frame? Oh, not like that. It's not.
Marco
It's one of the worst shots he's played for a long time. He rushed it, I think. I think he was annoyed that he wasn't on the green anyway, but the snooker looked as absolute certainty. It was like a miss-hit, Clive, wasn't it? He was absolutely nowhere near it. The touch had gone completely.
Baffling that such a good player could play such a bad shot. Deadly.
Yes, absolutely so.
Brown and blue needed.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 3.
Surprising.
I was a bit surprised by the way he played it.
Oh, that's another very bad shot from Marco. He's actually covered it up to an extent, but he should have been right in behind there. Not a difficult swerve at all, this. Marco's just slightly gone to pieces at the moment. I know Ronnie's missed one or two. This is another chance for him.
Needs the 3 remaining colours to get a foothold in the match.
Nine.
Doesn't really like the angle he's got here. It's just slightly the wrong side. It's got to come round off 2 cushions.
15.
No good.
Weighing it up, the double would be very risky.
He's playing twice across there to get the object ball safe. I didn't, like you,
Michael,
Clive, believe he would play the double. Because it's all or nothing. Well, most players would go up and down here with the black. But as I was just about to say, that is the other way that things go now. It's almost like the respotted black from the other end of the table. There was a time when a player would always double the ball up and down. Now, you've just got to be a bit careful here, Ronnie. The cue ball is travelling. In his mind, he knows that there's a possibility of it going in off somewhere. He can't do anything about that.
O'Sullivan 7 on the frame.
O'Sullivan takes the 4th frame on the black and increases his lead to 4-0. Breaks of 75, 71, 62 and 61 have featured as O'Sullivan has built up his 4-0 lead.
Thank you, frame 5. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
That's a good safety. Cue ball swung round off 3 cushions. Well, that had to be very thin, that cut. And
Foul and a miss.
as we
Ronnie
saw,
O'Sullivan 4.
the cue ball went past the edge.
Difficult starter though. Good rest shot. I said earlier in the tournament, earlier in the day, that O'Sullivan doesn't use the rest that often because of his left-handed abilities, but he's still one of the best rest players I've seen. Not missed one with the rest. 5 shots, 5 pots, and that was a good shot as well.
8. Nine. $14. $15. $21. 22.
Just peeling away the loose reds to start with. And then I expect we'll see O'Sullivan's artistry in opening the bunch while keeping position.
Yeah, sure. 29. $30.
Yeah, this time I think he disturbs them. He might try and hit the right-hand red of the bunch, actually. Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
$37.
When you hit them that accurately, you don't have to hit them very hard to disturb a few.
Big surprise.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 37.
Basic red to middle.
I suppose if he was going to miss it, he would miss it to the near jaw, trying to hold it for the black. He's not going to miss it to the other side of the pocket. Well, I didn't really see that happening. At the moment, I think he feels that he's not playing well enough, and he's got that feeling that a few have had before against O'Sullivan, that he's not quite as good as him. At least he's left nothing easy.
Foul. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4.
Well, Foo's difficulties continue to multiply. Everything's going wrong. He's thoroughly demoralised. The end cannot be far away.
One.
Yes, I'm not sure Marco's looking forward to getting at the table at the moment. It's a feeling only a snooker player can know. When it's not going well, you almost don't want the chances to come. A lot of people in here tonight. We've seen a lot of good play from O'Sullivan.
8.
Marco hasn't played all that well. Be a feeling of dread when you're out there.
9. $15. $16. $23. $24.
That looked like a bit of a flyer off the cushion, but O'Sullivan's still all right.
$31. $32.
I don't ever remember anyone coming from 5-0 down in the best of 11 and winning 6-5.
$39.
It may have happened. Don't see it happening here.
40. $45. $45.
Beautiful. You can't cue any better than that.
$51. $52.
Well, that's a stat that will worry everybody else left in the tournament, because that's not always his strong point nowadays. He's potted 7 long balls from 7.
For
58.
statistical purposes, a long pot is defined as one over 6 feet or more.
$60. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 60 and the frame.
One-way traffic continues. Ronnie O'Sullivan leads Marco Fu 5-0.
Frame 6. Marco Fu to break.
Fu has been able to offer only minimal resistance this evening. Only one of the 5 frames has been close. The 4th, which O'Sullivan won on the black. In proceeding to 5-0, O'Sullivan has made 2 70s and 3 60s.
Foul and a miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4.
Winner of this match plays Ding Junhui in the first semi-final on Saturday afternoon. And in the evening, it will be Judd Trump versus the winner of Friday's group. That looked like just a safety. And that looked like a mishit safety. Nothing easy left. But red to middle obviously a possibility.
One.
Yes, I think he'll just go for this green. Heading down to the reds. Into a blind pocket. Can't quite see the opening from there. Nice shot.
Four.
This sort of situation tests a player's professionalism. Battling it out to the last when you feel you
Marco
haven't got
for
anything in
4.
you. But that's another mistake. One of too many. Even leaving aside how well O'Sullivan's played.
One.
Now the red just to the right of the black will pot. It should open a few up as well, maybe even the black.
7. Eight. Thirteen. 14.
Just caught the pot a fraction on the thick side. Keeble didn't get as far in behind the blue as he would have hoped. Coming all around the table.
$19. 20.
When he picked up the speed of this table today, quicker than anybody has so far. Earlier on, players were saying it was so lively, so responsive, it took him a while to get used to, but never seems to be the case with O'Sullivan.
$25.
Conditions don't seem to play a huge part in his game.
26.
It's been a dreadful evening for Fu. I was thinking this afternoon that I'd never seen Sean Murphy play
32.
worse. Certainly not for about 10 years. And tonight, I can say I've never
Ronnie
seen
O'Sullivan,
Fu
32.
play worse in the last few years than he has this evening.
Yeah, I think to the point where Ronnie maybe has just slightly lost his concentration. You know, he feels he's going to win this match. I think most people would at this stage. Such a huge lead. The damage was done early. He's made over 60 in every frame, but he made 75 in the first and 71 in the second, and they were immaculate breaks. Marco had to win frame 4, which he lost on the black. Both players had shots at it. me. He's knocked in some long balls. That's 8 from 8 in this match. And as I said earlier, if you could pick the part of his game that's not been as good over the last few years, it's long balls.
We've seen skill tonight,
6.
but we haven't seen drama.
Seven.
We'll probably see some drama at the weekend, Clive, because it appears Ronnie's going to be in the semi-finals with Ding, and Judd Trump was playing well yesterday. It's not to be missed, I think.
14.
It's possible that the tournament could end up in an O'Sullivan v Trump final.
Well, the frame is still live.
Ronnie O'Sullivan,
Only doing everything he can to keep the pressure on. Marco, I think, looking for the door a little bit. And, sure, he'll keep trying his best, but I think he'll be almost relieved when this match is over the way it's gone. Very heavy. Needs the blue to come to his rescue here. It has. Well, he couldn't play that shot if you were there all night.
Surely wouldn't have had another shot had that not gone in.
I don't know if he's got the shot to develop the two reds. Of course, if he's going to clear up, they've got to be moved.
8. Nine. Sixteen. 17.
One awkward red developed.
Yeah, I know what he tried. I think he tried to flick the other two reds into play as well there. It made the pot more difficult. Well, the only consolation, and there aren't many, let's be honest, is that Ronnie now needs one of those two reds himself.
1.
But the cannon is on here. Directly onto them. Probably try and get on the right-hand red of the two. by hitting the other one first. Well, the idea was good.
7. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 7.
To lead by 42 with only 43 on.
Yes, and the black away from its spot, so that's going to be difficult to get on anyway. Quite frankly, though, none of it looks like it's going to happen. I've seen O'Sullivan play better than this, but been pretty clinical. So his long game has been as good as we've seen for a long time.
Six. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 6.
Very one-sided. Ronnie O'Sullivan beats Marco Fu by 6 frames to 0.